I just can't understand why he did it.
Who knows? I don't go in for the deep and meaningfuls. Just get the facts wherever I can. I'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah, right. Julie, Miss Bennett's not feeling very well. Could you phone the doctor? Tell him what happened, please?
Yes. Well, at least let me call a taxi for you.
No, I just want to walk.
I don't think it's a good idea for you to be on your own.
Yes, I agree with Mrs. Davidson, Vera. I think you should see a doctor.
No, I'm perfectly all right. I don't need to see a doctor. Good night.
Now, listen to me, Amanda. You're supposed to report to me every Thursday. Now, I'm not going to waste my time chasing you. Now, if you don't call in next week, I'm going to have to report you, and you know what that means. Right. Goodbye. Come in. Oh, Vera, what a surprise. What brings you here?
Hello, Meg. Could you spare a minute?
Yes, come along in. You're lucky to have caught me. I was just about to go home.
Oh, well, maybe some other time.
No, don't be silly. Sit down. Vera. Is everything all right? You look dreadful.
I'm all right.
What's happened?
I was on my way home from work this evening. He followed after me in the car. Terry, I mean. He parked the car, came after me on the footpath. We stood arguing. He wouldn't let go of me. I became frightened. Suddenly, a car sped round the corner and someone stuck a gun out the window and shot him.
Is he?
It was a shotgun, I think. Quite close range. He's dead. I went back to the prison to wait for the police. Jim Fletcher and Mrs. Davidson seemed to think I should be hysterical. I can't see why. I mean, when you work as a prison officer, you get used to violence, don't you? What sort of a governor would I make if I cracked up at the first sign of blood? Control. That's what a governor needs. Can't do a good job without it. Oh, Meg, please say something.
Vera, I don't know what to say.
I loved him. I could have married him.
Vera, he was dangerous. Remember what happened to Kathy Hall? You could have been next.
No, but he really loved me. He's dead.
It rolled onto them while they were working in a...
Doreen, has that finger taken up squatters' rights in your mouth?
Police took 2 hours to remove
No, it's just that bloody scratch. It's really giving me the earache.
I wish you'd play a card.
Well, how's that one?
Ha-ha!
Oh, I didn't mean to play that one.
You did a table card. You're taking it back to your cheating.
I mean,
You damn well I had the left barrel.
listen.
Outside the Wentworth Detention Centre. The officer, Mr. Terry Harrison, was in the company of another member of the prison staff, Miss Vera Bennett, when he was shot by a gunman in a passing car. He died instantly. Miss Bennett was unhurt and was able to speak to police shortly afterwards. A police spokesman said later that the murder appeared to be a gangland slaying and several leads were being followed up.
Well, they got the mug, eh?
What a pity they missed Vera. Oh, her skin's so tough the bullets would have bounced right off anyway.
I wonder what it was about.
I don't know. But it serves him right if he was mixed up with Kathy's murder.
Well, maybe Vera had a contract out on him because he jilted her.
Well, that's not a very nice thing to say, Jude. She must have been fond of him, otherwise she would never have got engaged.
Oh, who cares? It's only vinegar tits.
Now, as far as I'm concerned, he deserves all he gets. He was a bent screw.
Why did you want to see me, Mrs. Davidson? Is it about Don?
Yes, it is, but there's no need to look so worried. He's being released from hospital this morning.
Oh, thank God.
I have arranged for you to collect him and take him home. Mrs. Morris will be accompanying you, and you can spend a couple of hours there.
Thank you.
I appreciate how worried you've been about your family, and hopefully this will help to solve those worries.
Oh, if only it was for good. They must be in a bad state without me.
I'm sure it's not as bad as you think. Myra Desmond is a very capable woman, and from all accounts, she's doing a good job with the children.
You sound as though you admire her.
Yes, I do. She is a genuine, self-reformed person who stands by her convictions.
Mrs. Morris mentioned that there could be a chance of an early release.
Well, not really. It's not worth it on your sentence. You see, you only have a couple of weeks left, and the application would take at least 3.
But that's ridiculous. Surely there must be some way.
That's government wheels in motion, I'm afraid. Now, you'd better get changed. Mrs. Morris will take you as soon as she arrives.
Yes. And thank you, Mrs. Davidson.
Vera, what are you doing here?
I work here, remember? For today, at least.
I told her she shouldn't have come in.
Well, I certainly wasn't expecting you. I've rearranged all the rosters.
Then you can rearrange them again. This is my last day at Wentworth. I had to come in.
I think she needs something to keep her occupied, Jim.
Yes, right.
Well, I must be going. I'm taking Alison Page out this morning. I'll see you later.
Thank you very much for letting me stay last night.
Vera, I just wanted to say how sorry I am about Terry.
Yes.
I know that you both had hopes, despite everything that happened.
Oh, I wasn't going to marry him. I couldn't have. He wasn't rational. He killed Kathy Hall. As surely as if it was him driving that car.
Yes, I know. Inspector Grace told me. I just can't imagine him doing it.
He did it all right. He told me. And he would have done the same to me.
Yes. Yeah, just a minute, will you? Inspector Grace is at reception. He wants to see you.
Yes.
Look, I can tell him that you're busy if you like.
No, of course not. We have to help the police all we can.
Is Susan keeping up with her piano lessons? You have to keep on at her, you know.
Alison, would you stop worrying? Myra's doing a marvellous job. She's a very capable woman.
That's what Mrs. Davidson said. But I can't help being concerned. I mean, a woman like that...
Alison, Myra is a woman much like yourself. Now, I thought you'd got over this silly attitude.
Sorry, come on.
Oh, Miss Bennett. I'm sorry to trouble you so early.
It's all right, Inspector. I know you've got your job to do.
Look, I'd like you to read that and sign it, and I'm just wondering if you had anything to add to what you've already told me.
No.
We had a lucky break yesterday. That car that was used on the job was reported stolen earlier in the day. After the shooting, it was spotted by a traffic patrol. They chased it, but the guys got away, but they did panic. They dumped the car and they didn't clean it, so we've got a cartridge shell and a fine set of prints.
Have you arrested anyone?
No, not yet, but the prints do belong to one of Fitzwater's boys, so we can pick him up.
Who's Fitzwater?
He's one of the chief villains of McNally's organisation. He was the one Kathy Hall spotted in the pawn shop. He's also the one that ordered Kathy's killing. He didn't want us spreading the word about the connection with the pawnbroker.
Can't you arrest him?
No, we can't. We haven't got enough on him. Besides, he hopped on a plane this morning for Sydney, and he's off my turf. The Sydney boys can worry about him now. We have cleaned up a bit here, however. We've arrested the pawnbroker. He had some stolen goods in his shop. Very careless.
So that's another feather in your cap. Another step closer to promotion.
Look, Miss Bennett, I've got a job to do, as you said, and I try to do it the best way I can. Now, I'm sorry about Terry, but he went into it with his eyes wide open.
You believe what you want to.
Alison, what are you doing here?
You can thank Mrs. Davidson. It was a surprise for me, too. How are you?
Not too bad. Good day, Mrs. Morris.
Hello.
I'm just sitting here waiting for the doctor's okay to go.
Well, I'll go and see if I can track him down. Give you two a couple of minutes alone. Back in a tick.
Now, how's that back?
Just got to take it easy. Still gives me a bit of a twinge now and then. As the doctor says, there's not much you can do with a back like this except give it time.
How are the kids?
Oh, they're fine. They're getting on really well with Myra. What's wrong?
Nothing. Just don't tell me she's very capable, that's all.
All right. But we would have been right up that proverbial creek if she hadn't come along.
Yes, I know, and I'm grateful. But that doesn't mean I have to like the idea of a woman like that living in my house.